friends. Today we're going to talk about street glide versus road glide, but more particularly the forks being mounted to the fairing versus on the road glide, the forks are detached or not attached to the shark nose fairing. Do you have a street glide and have you been thinking about a road glide, or vice versa? Then this YouTube review is for you. So in this review, we're going to have a discussion on what the street glide feels like as far as the fairing, and then how that compares with the road glide. So I've had the chance to drive both motorcycles, but I've owned since I purchased the road glide. I've put extensive miles on it, almost 8,500 miles in 5 months. Whereas with the street glide, I did an all-day drive, so I don't have as much experience. Now it goes without saying that any review is really just a few minutes of your time, but you really have to get out there and get on both of these motorcycles and make the ultimate decision for yourself as to which feels most natural and most comfortable for you. So let's first take a look at the street glide. The really big advantage here is it's a classic traditional motorcycle look, if that's your thing. Now, of course, the downside with that is that it's somewhat a legacy, older, classic tired kind of look. The other advantage of the street glide, where the forks are mounted to the fairing, is that you've got a connected, solid feel where everything is connected up front. Every time you move, really the handlebars are connected to the fairing and everything is moving together. However, psychologically, it can, you can have a perception that it's a much heavier motorcycle, or that you have to muscle through turns because you're not just moving handlebars, you're moving the entire fairing as you're turning. The other issue is that when you are leaning into turns, the fairing is facing you and everything up front is turning with you. So that can be a positive and a negative. The positive side of that is it feels more together and the movements are more predictable and everything just feels like one connected solid unit. The downside there is when you're driving in between tractor trailers or you're going through heavy crosswind situations, then you're going to feel more buffeted, and because the entire motorcycle is really one solid unit with the handlebars. And so in controlling the motorcycle, you're holding the handlebars, you're holding essentially the entire front end of the fairing, and more effort is going to be expended to muscle through those winds and crosswinds and as you're turning through your motorcycle. So let's now take a look at the road glide. So the road glide, as you know, has the forks unattached to the shark nose fairing. The real big advantage here is that it's a fresh, new school look. It's an exciting look. However, it does take some getting used to because it's kind of unnerving at first when the handlebars are these thin bars that you're holding on to, but they're really detached from the rest of the massive fairing that's in front of you. So that's going to take some getting used to. And also, the advantage here is that it's a very light and agile feeling, almost like skiing, especially when you have long handlebars and you're riding a motorcycle on the road glide for the first time. You really have this skiing-like effect, and it's very light and very nimble, especially through parking lots and tight maneuvers and U-turns and those kind of things. You're really going to appreciate having the forks unattached to the shark nose fairing. Psychologically, if you've never ridden a road glide and you've been on fixed fairings for all of your motorcycling career, then it's going to feel a little strange. And psychologically, it's kind of weird seeing the bars move, but the rest of the fairings stay fixed. Similar to the Honda Goldwing, which is a motorcycle that I owned prior to moving to the road glide. And finally, the big pro here for the road glide is that the fairing takes the brunt of any wind or crosswinds or any kind of impact like that, whereas the handlebars are nice and light in that skiing kind of position, and they seem to stay unaffected for the most part. And you'll find most road glide owners are very satisfied and they enjoy that feeling of having the handlebars feel so nice and light, even though when you come to, say, a hard stop, it can feel a little bit like the handlebars move forward a little bit, so that can sometimes be a little unnerving until you get used to it. But it's really psychological, that feeling of the bars being disconnected from the fairing. Guys, if you found this review helpful, then please like or subscribe. I look forward to reading your comments. Thanks and have a great day.